Pisha is Xien, exit ignorance into intelligence. Um, Today's topic is just um something I was talking about with coworkers today, and it's about things that are written within Bible that are very controversial, uh, simply because the Bible to me is written in a language called Leganese, or um, that's the only word that connects to the wording and the way certain passages are written. Now, the disclosure to many spiritual people, many Christians, or many paths of faith, as you know, you may have, that we all have, that are on the planet, which is truth. My interpretation of the Bible, it stems from a love-hate perspective. I love the Bible because it was the first book that connected me to spirituality. I do not like what the Bible has presented to the world. I feel as though the Bible tells the truth and legalese. You have to find the truth very, 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 very carefully. And it's not something that, from my teachers that taught me the way of legalese. It's not something you could just speed through and read, and that's the first thought that you get into your mind. You really have to sit down and meditate. And that's one of the main things that, I remember hearing or being taught by reading the Bible, is to meditate on the words. And for such a long time, since the beginning of, me walking this path of faith, I've meditated on those messages. And it's shifted me through so many paths that all I wanted to know is the absolute truth. What is the absolute truth about human beings on this planet? And the knowledge is there. People talk about it every single day. People have different depictions of the past, and these different type of epilogues and series, and just stems and views of the past. But what is the actual truth? And it's there, from my teachers telling me, well, it's written in pictures all over the world. Even from the conversation that I had today with my employees, like basically really my friends, because I don't talk about this stuff with no one else. And from speaking, from actually communicating about verses in the Bible, and I believe the verse was First Corinthians verse, I'm not sure if it was 16 through 18. I believe it was that. But I remember he read the verse, and it was this word specifically of fornication. And I'm like, well, okay, what exactly is fornication? So fornication exactly means marrying a person. Because me personally, I feel like in the Bible it does not say that you cannot have sex before marriage. And that's why everybody, I'm not going to say everybody in life, but a high perspective of people. And and one thing that my employee did say, my friend did say, is do not put the interpretation of man into the perspective. And I'm just like, okay, let's depict that as well. Let's not be human. And this is what you have to meditate on: the words. Don't be human. Be God. what would you do in a situation? But read the words carefully, because it's not just fornication. There are different words mixed into the verse that also make up the sentence. And you really have to sit there and say, okay, well, what is a sentence fully? When we're taught in school to read and comprehend, what is your reading and comprehension level? But they took away phonics, and phonics was a vibrational tool to speak in order to really understand the words and the breakdowns of English, because that's what we speak. Well, if you're in America, most most English is spoken around the world, because you have English and you have Old English, which if you go to England, they still speak English. Some people speak different dialects and whatnot. Like you go to Italy, they have Italian, or you go to that's the original Spanish, I believe, or is it some? I believe that's the original Spanish, or different, or the original. I forgot what they call it. The dialect. No, it's Spain. My bad. Yeah, it's Spain. That's the original dialect of Spanish, or where that comes from, where Latinos and different parts of South America and island territories speak this language because Spain conquered those islands. Like, sorry, I gotta get back to the verse. Different words inside the verse make up these sentences. And you can't just sit there and use fornication, because I kept sitting there and thinking about fornication, fornication, fornication. And I really had to just step away and meditate, because a lot of times when you're in a room full of, and you're trying to gain a full perspective, but one person has their perspective and everybody has their belief, it's really hard to get to the truth. I'm not talking about faith. I'm not talking about faith in the words. I'm talking about the words of legalese. I'm talking about the truth within the sentence, which only a few people really understand. A lot of people, they read the verse, whatever, day by day, but they don't really sit there and, okay, let me break these words down. And I just felt it unfair that he kept using the word fornication to alter it, as though the Bible says that you can't have sex before marriage. And I'm not saying that I'm saying that it's not saying that you can't have sex before marriage. I'm saying that it suggests that you wait to have sex. That's what it suggests. But also within this particular verse, it states something else weird. And it keeps mentioning about it said something about is only, sin is not of the body, or like the body doesn't create sin. So kind of meaning sin is only spiritual or mental, or I don't know what other type of aspect, but it's not within the body. But it only, I guess, only when it comes of the body is within the act, or just have to, I guess, read the passage more clear. But this is my statement on what legalese is. It's what lawmakers talk. They study in college for what, over 8 years to become a lawyer, and then most people, they become DAs, and they study this judgment of what what is fair within a trial. And as far as the Bible, that's what it's written as. It says this is the book of law. And well, that I don't believe that's the book of law. As far as the Bible, I believe the book of law is the Quran or something like that. But as far as a book of faith, it's the same aspect. So and when it's translated into English, like you're basically what I mean. And it's interesting because how we went through a series in our history, and this is what my main point of getting to certain knowledge is getting back into history, getting back into our main history, which is everyday current civilization building and interacting with people, everyday things evolving, and I don't know, just forming this like families and love, and it seems like a lot of the media is just taking that away. So as far as just getting back into you know our history, you remember we went through well, still we're not taught religion in school, in public school at least. If you go to a private school, then yeah, they'll teach you religion, but they're teaching you their religion. Like, why isn't religion taught in school? But we are taught religion in school, but we're just taught, oh, the Crusades, um, you know, Christians, did this, that, whatever, as far as the Muslims, and that there are these religions, on the planet. But as far as going through verses in the Bible, like we don't have a religion class. Like, and it's that's just an interesting perspective because I guess because it's too controversial. Too many people have their own belief in the book instead of having the truth within the book. Most people don't even read the Bible. I'm not going to say most. I'm not sure, but most people that I've known never necessarily read the Bible. They've just read verses and read chapters, but and they have their favorite chapters and whatnot, which I'm not saying. And this is to say again to those out there who walk their sacred paths. I'm not saying that the Bible is a bad book. No, the Bible is a beautiful book. It's a book of history. Like, and this like you can't sit there and deny a book of history, whether who is created by or whom it's on the planet, you know. So if you are still a Christian and you walk that path, you have to do you because we are living on a world. Like this is the world, bro. Everybody has their own thing. You have Buddhist monks, you have Christian monks, you have people that are dedicated to their faith. And I'm not mad at that. That's a beautiful thing. But it's like something is ripping that apart from us. And we have to keep that. And just I guess my truth to the people is just keep learning your history, bro. Do not let that go. Put pieces together. Stop just going after the money. The money comes somewhere. If you're gonna go after the money, might as well study where it comes from. Exactly where it comes from. Remember dates. Remember dates. A lot of things have not happened that long ago. A lot of things have happened around 1800s. 1800s is just what 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago going on. No, not even. No, I'm sorry. I'm fucking up my math. My bad. Because ADDC, that whole thing. I guess I'll get into a different video, but that's not that many years. Like what, 600 years, 400, 400 years, and then most of that, black people was in slavery. Like, and this is what I'm saying. A lot of things are just new current. And if you're alive in this day and age, it's a beautiful time to be alive. But at the same time, we're in this primordial abyss, and we need to kind of get ourselves out of it, bro. If we're gonna evolve into the future, there's always gonna be a future. But when you sit there and look at shit like Terminator and Matrix, and you learn and understand that, well, these books came from actual people that wrote books. Um, Sophia, Sophia, damn, can't even think of her name right now. When I get to it, she wrote The Third Eye. And Third Eye is basically about the Matrix and the Terminator. And it's basically one book put together. Haven't read it, be honest. But at the same time, it's important to know that, you know, it was stolen. Like Matrix, that was stolen, and Terminator, that was stolen too. But they put it into movies, and they are biggest hits. Of course, Keanu Reeves, and you got Arnold Schwarzenegger with many other characters that are playing, Terminator and whatnot, and they still doing Terminator. We haven't seen another Matrix. We've seen the Animatrix, but not another actual, saga to the Matrix, which is probably kind of interesting. Maybe they working on it, could be, but at the same time, like, it's it gives you a perspective of the future. A lot of people just watching these movies and they just like, oh yeah, it's just a movie. Bro, you gonna have to wake up. You're gonna have to wake up. And I just feel like I've just been asleep for so long and I haven't. But I'm just sick of nobody really talking about history. Like nobody is really, the only few people I know that really I feel dedicate to me. There's probably other people out there, like, with that write books and whatnot. But as far as like media, Pharaoh, I respect Pharaoh. I get huge amount of perspective from Pharaoh, and I love that he's grown to change himself and get a visual perspective on all things in the world. And as far as history macabre, I like Macabre. He really talks about Leganese, and Leganese is great because it helps you to really just focus on the things that you have. Most people are already doing it. People already know how to sit down, just like, let me just do work and read this legal work before I just sign away. Let me ask questions and shit. Blah 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 blah. And my whole thing is learning how to do these things. Are we allowed to do these things? And it's just like, well, when we do try to negotiate something, why does it seem like, oh nah, like, you're gonna have to go somewhere else immediately? And I'm like, this is an issue. Um, as far as work, as far as just companies go, just as far as the people go. Many people are just getting sucked into these realms of just like, okay, that's it, and no one's really being creative. No one's no, and I'm just like, you don't have to be creative, but at least speak about the truth, bro. Like, like we gonna have the fuck shit, bro. Like it's always gonna be the fuck shit, but can we please just get up off this ego ass high horse and just come together, just move something. Just move something. You have 3 billion people in this world. How many people in America? I think it's like 20, 23. Sorry, 233 million people in America. Or wait, or is that just in New York? I forget. But it's like I don't be getting how politics just get away with so much, and then you get politics is everywhere, and it's just like we try to push forward, and then we always end up taking 16 steps back, and I'm just like, when is that just gonna stop? Like, is it that we have to go through that whole termination, the that negative feed on our planet, the desolate era, darkness, internal darkness? Do we have to go through that in order to evolve? And that's probably what's gonna happen, bro. Some like I've I've tried to pray and I've tried to meditate on the future. And when I look at the present, I'm just like, that shit look like it's all about to go in flames. Every time we have somebody that's smart and intellectual, they end up just passing away or just dying all of a sudden, and like, and now it's just so secretive and so disgustingly motivated by darkness. And it's like they showboat it now, and it's really sad. It's really terrible. And when people, younger generation, try to speak and speak their piece, whether they sound angry or pissed off or whatever the fuck, or whether they do it out of greed or whether they do it out of revenge or avenging, you know, what whatever perspective you're looking from. Like we just see a lot of nonsense, and we don't see too many of just like, yo, let's like stop that shit, bro. Like we always say stop that shit to the dumb shit, whatever the fuck, to the latest meme, whatever the fuck, but we never just stop and say like, yo, what are you doing, bro? But anyway, I didn't mean to go into a negative perspective, because I don't listen. Energy is never gonna die, especially positive energy and love. And I believe love in the highest power. But I'm not stupid. I don't believe in unkarma. Like, especially on Earth. Like, this Earth has gone through so much blood and just horrendous ways to go forward when we didn't have to do that. I mean, I guess that's just the virus. Whatever virus is on this planet, that just keeps shifting into different entities. And to be honest, if you're not on that frequency, that 4D consciousness, that different perspective of all, then you're not gonna see it. You're gonna keep believing in faith and shit. And it's weird because like I was talking to the bro, my employee, like today, my friend, and he's just like, yo, even my faith is being tested. I'm just like he was just like my like temptations and shit when I walk by, and just like, bro, you live in a city, bro. That's one thing you gotta understand. You're living with so many different minds and different perspectives, and if you're not grounded, you can go crazy. Look at people that's in the street. Like, it's real out here. And if you're on 4D consciousness, then you can put up that protective wall. You can do things to be grounded. However, like, you gotta wake up. You know. Anyway, this is XIEN, ignorance into intelligence, um, love, peace, and higher consciousness. Love and light.